What do you think was the initiating point of property rights in human beings? In all mammalian species, which sex is territorial by nature? I'll discuss this and also how different cultures have tried to do justice to female sex. But before that, let me just point out two shortcomings that have affected feminist academia right from its initiating points. Firstly, their aversion to male point of view, and secondly, their aversion to nature or refusal to accept nature as a major role player in human interaction. Let me explain these two in detail first. Since men were the ones going outside and doing all kinds of work, the feminist starting point was that everything is from male point of view and everything needs to be questioned, and female or women need to discover their own point of view. But the problem is, how can we have two point of views competing with each other all the time on everything? A point of view is right or wrong, not based on the sex which puts forward that point of view. If that were the case, then everything is from male point of view is wrong for females, then everything from female point of view has to be wrong for men. But the thing with point of views is, a point of view is right or wrong depending upon whether it can be supported by facts and observations or not. Are you going to reinvent the wheel simply because wheel was most likely invented by a man? Then you'll have to reinvent microscopes, telescopes, and so on and so forth. The point being, it's not whose point of view was. Was it a right point of view or was it a wrong point of view? Let me give you an example of what feminists say is the male point of view about female beauty. They say that our yardstick of beauty has been determined by men, but that's a lie. Why is that a lie? You line up 10 women on one side and you line up 10 men on one side. As soon as you line them up, the women would have identified 2-3 men amongst the men who would look the best to them, and similarly men would have identified 2 or 3 women among the group of women that would look best to them. And I'm saying 2 or 3 because some individual preferences do play in which person finds more attractive than the other. But in general, all 10 women will find 2 or 3 men attractive, and all 10 men will find 2 or 3 women attractive. And it will not take long before the women will realize which are the women that men are more interested in, and men would realize which are the men that women are more interested in. Now, nobody has given anyone what they should given anyone an image of beauty, but nature has played its role. What looked beautiful to one person, they thought that's beautiful. It's as simple as that. But what that interaction does is it puts pressure on those who have been neglected. Now, how do you get your man or how do you get your woman? Simple. You have to beat the alpha bitch or the alpha dog. That's how you get your man. That's how you get your woman. It's not anybody else's point of view which is being forced on you. It's just nature forcing you in a direction. Nature plays a very major role. Nature has played a very major role in developing human society. And the problem with feminism is it tends to overlook nature by saying that it's male point of view. No, it's not male point of view. Take the example of female bodybuilders. Do you think female bodybuilders don't eat as much or don't put as much effort as men? But are the strongest female bodybuilders stronger than the strongest male bodybuilders? If you can't judge that, think of all the world records in athletics, 100 meters, long jump, triple jump, pole vault. Why is it that men's records tend to be generally great, more stiffer than the female records? Why is this disparity? Do you think female athletes are not given enough food or not given proper training? Both sexes train equally hard, eat equally well, and yet there's this disparity. Why is this disparity? Do you think there is no natural difference between the two sexes? By denying nature, you are actually putting one major factor which plays a major role in the development of society, which has played a major role in the development of society, totally out of the picture. How could your assessments and observations be right after that point? Everything is not about what men think is right. Just because men were the ones to go out does not mean that men were bastards who would lie. They were honest men who observed honestly, and whatever observations were based on honest observation. So the 2 points: one, it's not about whose point of view it is. It could be man's point of view, it could be woman's point of view. The thing is it supported by facts or evidence? That is more important. Second, nature plays an important role. You cannot deny nature and then start figuring out solutions for human problems. You have to factor in nature, because you'll have to live with nature. It doesn't matter whether you're living on Earth or whether you move out of Earth and start living on another planet, on Moon or Mars. Nature will still continue to play a role, and it will still continue affecting human interaction. Now, what is with property rights? Men, being males, they were territorial right from the start, and territoriality comes naturally to the male species because of the hormones the body produces, testosterone. It's about controlling the territory, because territory is where all the resources are located, be it food, water, or mating partners. So that's how territoriality comes into play. And it was the territoriality aspect of controlling land that drove men towards controlling land pieces. That's how property rights emerged. It was men who used to fight for land. It was never women who were territorial. It was never women who were going out to wars to win another woman's land. It was always men. That's how property rights emerged, and that's why property rights were confined with men originally. However, over a period of time, men also realized that we are being unfair to women. In different cultures, different traditions developed. For example, in most Asian traditions and some other traditions as well, there was a tradition that whenever you married your daughter, you gave her gifts. That was the male way of giving the girl her rights, because they knew that the land that the man has, that will pass on to the sons, but they wanted to give something to their daughters as well. That may not have been enough, or that may have been more than a fair share. That's not the point. The point was that they tried to be fair. But of course, that was a different society. We are not living in that society anymore. The society started to change the day marriage was no longer meant for lifelong. The day divorce became an integral part of the society, female property rights became important. And not just that, women who became widowed, or women who were left by their husbands, they were having problems dealing with their life, raising their kids, and men knew that, and that was the source of development of property right movement for women. So it's not that feminists did something great. Feminists might have been more vocal, but men already realized this, and there were things happening outside the work of feminists as well to give women their right. But of course, feminism did give them a major push, give the women's rights movement a major push, and drove this at a faster pace than what it might have happened, which is good in the way that the right thing had happened in quicker time. But the reasons that were put behind that bringing that right action, those reasons were wrong. The result may have been right, but the reasons were wrong, and we have been continuously building up on those reasons. So more wrong reasons are being piled up. So it's about fixing the reasons, because it's not just about getting the result. If the result is not supported by right reasons, even the right result starts feeling wrong, which is not what anyone would want. So think, people, think.